Hi, I'm Imogen. Welcome back to my channel. I've got a different video, one I've not filmed before basically, which is a library book haul. Most of the time I read almost exclusively from my library because I cannot afford to read the number of books that I read if I didn't borrow them from the library. I'm just trying to... These all got reservation tags now. I'm moving it so you can't actually see my name. Okay, there we go. So, I love it. I've always used the library. As you can see, I have my bookshelves, like the top row of that, and all the way down to the floor, which you can't see. But those are books I've collected. Some of those books I've had since I was... There's some of them are children's books, some I've had for a long time. I get rid of the books I don't read, and buying a book full price for me is something I consider a treat. Because if I don't use the library, I'm often using second-hand bookstores. I'm a student, I can't afford to buy books, and I love going to the library. It's so enjoyable, and also it gives you a way of discovering books, new authors that you may never have picked up before, because you might have thought, that sounds interesting, but I'm not going to spend this money on it. So I've got 6 books today, which all came in as reservations, so my mum went to town today and picked them up for me because I went to the library yesterday and forgot my library card. So I just sat and did school work, which I was going to do anyway, but I was also going to pick up my books I used to collect. Ignore my hair, it's gone completely bonkers. Normally my hair is straight and shiny and it's like, feels like it needs washing. It's got a load of product in it and it's gone kind of wavy, almost curly. It's very strange. And it's kind of bothering me. I've just shoved it back. It was in a bun earlier but I could not film it. It was just like falling off the side of my head from where I'd been doing school. It was not a good look. So yeah, I'm just going to talk through the books I've got. Let's start. I've got 2 non-fiction books. First, I've got Delusions of Gender, The Real Science Behind Sex Difference by Cordelia Fine. I've heard good things about, I heard good things about this. I'm interested in gender, I'm female, as you might be able to tell. And obviously I'm aware of the, oh my god, what's the word? Sexism. And the bias towards my male genitalia counterparts, which obviously I do not have, and really doesn't make that much of a difference. And this is what it's about. What differences are there actually? And then the next one I've got is Reasons to Stay Alive by Matt Haig. He's got a new book coming out, which I've seen advertised. I don't know if it's come out or if it's coming out. You can't see the cover at all. There we go. And I thought it sounded really interesting. I was thinking about buying it, but I wasn't sure because I've never read anything by him before. I only generally buy books I'm either fascinated by or I've read something by the author before. So I went to see if my library had any copies of that one. They didn't. They had his other book, which is this one, which is... It says it is a book about making the most of your time on Earth. I suffer from anxiety. Do I have a clinical diagnosis? No, but I used to have to see a neurologist because I suffered from quite severe migraines at a point in my life, and he used to talk about my anxiety. The only reason I'm not diagnosed is because I don't want to go through the process of going to the doctors and having to do all that sort of thing, because doctors, well, one, they make me anxious. I hate it. I've spent so many time in hospital, and I've had, in recent years, my experiences have got better with doctors, but growing up, because I've got not hard to diagnose, but my symptoms were very inconsistent, so some days I'd be fine, some days I weren't. But also I think a lot of people just thought I was a teenage girl making up the fact that I was ill because I didn't want to go to school. And I've been told to my face that I'm making it up. So my faith in doctors at a GP level is very low. As you kind of go up and you get to consultants who I've spent a lot of time with and I've had a lot greater success rate with, I tend to be more trusting of them. But the idea of just going into a doctor's surgery and having to make a GP's appointment, go and see a GP who I've had the worst experiences with. I literally sat there once and I got told, oh, we can't do anything for you, too complicated. I'm like, I'm ill, I need help. So I've not been diagnosed with anxiety, but it's there, and there have been times in my life where I have been very, very depressed. Very ill for a very long time, and gradually my health's got better, but there was a period in time where it just kept deteriorating and deteriorating and deteriorating, and I was to the point I couldn't really leave the house, I could barely leave my room, and my life was just, I didn't have a life, and nothing was making me better. So, and I was going through that at the same time as being a teenager, so you've got teenage hormones mixed with being alienated and bullied when you were at school because you're not at school. I probably had a 50% attendance rate at the most. So this is something that even though I'm currently not struggling with, I'm about to approach exams in less than 2 months. And I'm going to go to university in September, so I think this will be a very good book for me to read and kind of maybe add to my arsenal of coping mechanisms and skills of making the most out of life, and kind of when things go wrong, ways of dealing with them. Because over the years I've learnt them and I've gained coping, I don't like the word coping mechanisms, but almost like ways of survival and helping myself, especially before it necessarily gets bad. So yeah, I was really interested in this, and if I enjoy it I might buy his new one. And then I'm really surprised I actually got hold of this. This is Home Fire by Camila Shamsi, which was just shortlisted for the Women's Prize. I've been interested in this for quite a while, and I just like, okay, I'm just going to reserve it at the library, see what you think of it. And if you've not heard of this, this is about 3 Muslim children. Well, they're not children, they've like kind of grown up at this point, but they're young, kind of teens, early 20s, who are in England. And one of them's going to university in America. Another one's in London, and her brother has disappeared, and they think he's been radicalised because their father was a jihadist. And I think it's very... And also talks about another boy who comes from a very different background. He's the son of a British Muslim politician. I'm just really interested to see what happens. I think it's a very current book, which about talking about the events that are now, and I think could be interesting to read something a bit different. And if it's as amazing as people say it is, I hope it is, otherwise I'll be a bit disappointed. I've got to read that soon, because now it's been shortlisted, there's no way I could be able to get hold of it for like months now from my library, so got to read that in the next 3 weeks. And then the next one, I've got Autobiography by Christina Lauren, which was recommended by, oh my god, what's her channel, The Book Nerd? I can't remember. She's got short, I can picture her, she's got short blonde hair, short bleach blonde hair. I think something Book Nerd. The Problems of a Book Nerd? Anyway, I was watching an unhauling video, which was a live video, and she got asked for her favourite recommendations for her favourite queer novels, and this is one that came up, and I've thought about borrowing this before. This is the story of Tanner Scott, who was out in he's bisexual, he was out in California, but his family's moved to Utah, he's gone back in the closet, and now he's entered his Provo High's prestigious seminar to write a book in 4 months. He thinks, oh, 4 months is ages, I could do anything, I'm in my senior year, I'm not really doing anything. But then he falls in love with Sebastian, brother, the Mormon prodigy who sold his own seminar novel the year before and now mentors the class. I just want to read cute gay romance, because sue me, there's not enough of it. It's a bit bigger than I expected it was going to be. Yes, over 400 pages. And then this is, I'm going to butcher this, Pera Matanes by Antonio Tabucci, which I got in large print because it turns out my library system does not have it in a normal size print, but it's going to be a really fast read. It's not even 200 pages and it's large print, so, and it's like large print, so I'm going to rush this. I've seen this on multiple people's channels recently and I was intrigued by the first one. Then like 2 more later I was like, okay, I'm just going to borrow it from the library. It's the sort of book I will like. And this is, yeah, translated from the Italian by Patrick. What is it with people's, why do I always have so many vowels in them? Creagh. C-R-E-A-G-H. Yeah. This is about Dr. Pereira. I'm going to have to look up how to say that surname, because I'm going to be going variations in my head the whole time I'm reading this. An editor at a second-rate Lisbon newspaper wants nothing to do with European politics. He's happy to translate 19th century French stories. His closest confidant is a photograph of his late wife. All this changes when he meets Francesco Montero Rossi, an oddly charismatic young man. Pereira gives Rossi work and continues to pay him, even after discovering that he is using the money to recruit for the anti-Franco International Brigade. It chronicles his ascent to consciousness, culminating in a devastating and reckless act of rebellion. It just sounds really interesting, and I've had quite high success rates with translated fiction kind of compared to like the percentage of them that I read and the percentage compared to my normal books and the percentage of them that end up in like the books I really like, so go for that. And then I've got, okay, is The Awakening and Other Stories by Kate Chopin or Chopin? Because I feel like Chopin sounds really bad. I read, okay, which one is it? The Penguin Black classic called The Silk Stocking. It's got, I'm going to say 4 or 5, I think it was 5 short stories in there. I really liked them, so I looked to see if my library had any more of her work, because I borrowed that one from the library and they did, so I borrowed this. And the actual bit that you read is only 350 pages long, so it's not too bad. And she's an 19th century American writer, and I just liked the way she wrote. It was really nice to read, and her portrayal of female characters was really interesting. On the back it describes her as focused on many such independent characters who challenge conventions. And the main story, which is The Awakening, is Edna's rejection of her domestic role and her passionate quest for spiritual, sexual and artistic freedom. That's my sort of book. I like that sort of thing. I'm going to go, because I've got to get ready, because I'm going to go and do aerial hoop and basically hang upside down by my arms or my legs from a hoop somewhere. I know where I'm going.